Hi everyone. So I wanted to make a video. I've been wanting to make this video actually for a while now, and it's my hot tips for conceiving. Now I've actually got my general tips that is just, that I suppose is a norm for everyone, and then I've got my tips on what worked for me. As if you've been following, it took us about probably 6 to 8 months of full-on tracking and trying, and it not working and going through a miscarriage and things like that. So I'll give you my general tips, and then there's just things that you can just find off the internet, and then I'll give you my tips on what worked for us. So the first tip I'll say is, and this is just a general one that you can just obviously look on Google, is just, sorry, my light's just gone out here. It's actually night time here, so I'm just doing this while I can because my son's asleep now. So take your prenatal vitamins. I think these are really important, because if you are lacking in anything before you're trying to conceive, and take these about 3 months before you're trying to conceive, then it actually just builds your immunity and builds up all those special vitamins that it takes to conceive a baby. Next would be an OPK test. So you can actually just buy these in sets of like 10 or 20 packs, and they come with as well as pregnancy tests. And you can just go on online and type in cheap OPK tests, like ovulation predictor kit tests, and they have a few different sites that you can go to, and it's a lot cheaper. Like normally for 2 of those in the chemist can cost up to $20. It's going to really annoy me all video. Yeah, it can cost up to $20. So for about 10 or 20 of these, it can be like $20 for that many. So it's definitely worth going online and just ordering. I don't know if eBay, I'm sure eBay does it as well, but yeah, they're really worth having, because that pretty much tells you when you're ovulating during the month, and because obviously that is the only time that you can get pregnant, so it's a really good gauge. And that's pretty much how I conceived with my son Jackson, is we really tracked my ovulation, and just making sure that we are ovulating on these days, and it is regular, because they say that you should ovulate, I think anywhere from 14 days after the first day of your last period. And I know for me that wasn't the case. I was ovulating 19 to 21 days in my cycle, and I had a really short luteal phase. So yeah, they do help, because even if you're not trying to conceive just yet, it's getting you ready to know where in the month you guys should BD, you and your partner. So definitely get your hands on one of those. Thermometer. Now, yeah, you can test your temperature in the morning. I would start testing, say, from your period, when you get your period, just to see what your temperature is. And your period is supposed to go down, it's supposed to dip, like it's supposed to be like, say, I don't know, I think mine was like, I think your base is like 30, base of body temperature is like normally 37. If it's anywhere below that, say, and if you're testing every morning for like, say, 20 days, and in that period your temperature spikes, that means you're going to ovulate in the next 24 hours. And then that, if you are pregnant and you've BD'd and you're waiting for your period, and if that temperature stays high, and you miss your period, then that's a sure sign that you're going to be pregnant, because your temperature stays high. But if it dips again, then that means you're getting AF, your period, like for the next probably day or so. So it is a really good indication. You can actually go on to Fertility Friend, and it gives you all these really good tips on how to conceive, and what methods you can do to help you find your way on how to conceive and things like that. And then it gives you little charts to pop in your temperature and your cervical mucus. You can, you know, all those kind of things that you can do. Like, that's another thing you can check your cervical mucus if it's wet, and that's usually when obviously it's better for sex. Then that's your usual time where you ovulate. If it's like really sticky, or dry, then that's not the prime time to ovulate. So that's a really another, like, I suppose, physical way to see if you're going to be ovulating soon. But My Fertility Friend is a really good chart and program that you can go into, and I think it's free. It's free, and then you can purchase like extras and things like that, but I just used the free one. And obviously it gives you really good tips. This is going to annoy me. Sorry guys, this is really annoying. Old school way, and it's going to be in my hot tips. Holding your legs up in the air, ladies. I know it's not that attractive after you've BD'd and it's romantic, whatever else, with your husband or your partner. But, and I know with myself, if I stand up straight after sex, like, and go to the toilet, it just all comes out, and it's just a complete waste, and like nothing is staying up there to try and get as many spermies up there as possible. So put a pillow underneath your legs, and just hold your legs up. I just full on hiked my legs up just for about 10 minutes, or I just like did like a fetal position in bed, and it usually is better like when you're going to bed, because you usually just go to sleep anyway. So I try and hold my legs up and don't move around and don't get up. So I would do that for at least 10 minutes, and yeah, no getting up. Just BD every other day. Try and do it as much as possible, obviously around when you're ovulating, because that's just going to increase your chances of conceiving. They say no alcohol obviously improves, and no caffeine. I tried that out with my son, and I really do think that helped for us in that situation back like 2.5 years ago now. So they're the general tips. And now I'm going to give you quickly my quick tips, what actually worked for us. Our story quickly is that we were trying to conceive for about a good 6 to 12 months. Oh, not 12 months, 6 to 8 months maybe. And then, you know, we were scheduled to go overseas in August 2012, but I didn't want to be pregnant in the first 12 weeks while traveling, just because morning sickness, and I wanted to be able to enjoy myself. So I thought, if I'm not pregnant by June, we're going to stop, and we're just going to go with the flow, and then hopefully on the holiday it'll happen. And obviously it happened. But so we ended up stopping, and on the holiday we obviously, I think the main thing was that we were relaxed, we were just having fun. I wasn't tracking. I didn't even know when I was ovulating, because at that time, if you were watching my videos, my cycles were all over the place. You know, I had already booked in to go see a specialist to see, you know, why my cycles are being affected, and it all happened after my miscarriage that I had back, I think, in April. So yeah, I didn't track. I didn't know when I was ovulating. I think a huge thing is that it wasn't a chore for us, and it's not like I was saying to my husband, like I probably was before, alright, I'm ovulating, come on, we've got to, you know, go do it and make sure that we don't waste it, and just putting him under a lot of pressure. And I'm pretty sure the night that we did conceive, we were in Vancouver, and I was stuck at home with Jackson because he had a fever, but him and his family went out on like a dinner cruise, and I suppose he had a few to drink. And then he came home, and then we BD'd, but he was just super relaxed, and, you know, I don't know. Another thing, I got a theory too, is that he is a big rum drinker. Like, he loves his, like, Bundaberg rum, and if anyone doesn't know, that's like an Australian drink. He couldn't find it anywhere in America or Canada, and he hadn't had any of that while he was over there. He was only drinking beer. So I don't know if it's the rum that slows the sperm up and makes them lazy, but maybe if nothing else is working, ladies, maybe just kind of monitor what kind of alcohol your husband is drinking, and maybe just switch it up just for like a month or two and just see if that makes a difference, because it could just be that one thing. You might be going to doctors and wondering why you're not conceiving. It could just be, you know, it's not like Jade Wade is a big drinker, but you know, I think it definitely, if it's out of your system for like more than a month, then maybe, you know, it helps with the sperm to liven up and get there. Because Wade did do a test, and he like back when we were trying to conceive my son, my first child, and it came out that he did have low sperm mobility, so they were quite slow. He had lots of it, but slow. That's another thing, I suppose, in general tips going back, is just obviously get tested on, you know, if you're ovulating during your month, you have your progesterone's going, and for him, get a sperm check, because you might be putting all this stress on yourself and it's actually the guy. He might have, as I said with my husband, low sperm mobility, and then you can kind of get tablets and things like that to help speed them up, or I forgot what the tablets are called, or he might have no sperm, and then you've just been putting all this pressure on yourself for ages and ages, and you might have to go IVF. So there's different things, but talk to your doctor, obviously. Another thing that worked for us was holding your legs up in the air, obviously, and we didn't have sex heaps. Like I said in my general tips, like every other day, we didn't. We did it, I don't know, like not every day, at least maybe every few days or something. And my theory is, the theory goes that if it's a girl, you're supposed to BD like maybe 3, 4, 5 days before you ovulate, and if it's a boy, it's on ovulation. I conceived Jackson on ovulation because I was tracking my ovulation, and it's a boy, and now it's a girl, and I didn't even know when I was ovulating, so I don't know if that kind of throws it into the mix on gender. But yeah, they're my tips, and I hope that really helps. If you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, fingers crossed for all you guys TTCing, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.